I am a competitor, ladies and gentlemen. Probably the most competitive person you'll ever meet. I don't strive just to be good or great at a specific thing. I strive to be the best. That is right, number one. And every single day, I'm always looking for a way to improve, whether it's the video content, whether it's Overwatch, whatever it is, I'm always looking to get better. Some people say it's an amazing quality to have. Being able to identify weaknesses and then make them better over time, it's one of those things that makes us too strong. And then sometimes it's one of those qualities that can be seen as, not such a great trait to have. Let me tell you guys a little bit of a story. I have a few friends that every Saturday we all get together and we do something really ridiculous. A lot of times we go to pick apart, we try to find car parts to fix on our cars or whatnot. Sometimes we just go to, a restaurant and chill. A lot of times we just sit there doing a lot of nothing. One of these days, a good friend of mine, he is, let's just put it this way. If in a sporting event, if he were to run a 40-yard dash, he'd run a forever. He wouldn't even have a time. That's how slow he is when it comes to actual athletics. Now, he's a pretty decent skateboarder. He can skate a little good. I'm better, obviously, but he all right. And he does a load of Frisbee. Now, this was one of those days that we decided to just hang around and throw around the Frisbee. And immediately, that instinct comes in. I am extremely off the roof. I'm competitive. I'm catching every Frisbee disc. I'm throwing it really hard. I'm running all the way. And I completely lose track of what we were trying to do. Just have fun. And a lot of times, I feel like people do that with Yu-Gi-Oh! There are a lot of competitive decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! But people tend to just pick what's best because they want to win. Oftentimes, you lose sight on having fun. And that can be the most important thing about this national event. In this video, I'm not only going to show you guys some decks that can compete, decks that can win, but also some decks that can be really, really good inside of this national event. I'm TheCaliEffect, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, then go and destroy that subscribe button. But more importantly, go hit that notification bell because, well, we just too strong. Also want to give a special thanks to every single one of my Patreons. Without you guys, videos like this would not be possible. And also a mad shout out to our newest Patreons, Paul, Dylan, Gardner, and Sean Olegario. Welcome to the clan. Make sure you add yourself to that Discord as well as message me so I can get you to the Discord, or so I can get you to the Top Dog so you can take advantage of all your rewards. Without further ado, I present to you a complete meta guide for the June 2019 format. Be ready to win some nationals, boys. Okay guys, so before I made this video, I actually decided to make a post asking you guys, would you rather see another tier list, or would you guys want us to go back to the ways of old? And it was kind of alarming that you guys wanted to see another tier list. Now, I know some of you guys may be a little disappointed that we didn't go back to the ways of old, but no worries. If you guys want to have more control on what you'll see on this channel, because of course this channel is for you, make sure you destroy that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and I'll have plenty of other opportunities for you guys to voice your opinion. In this particular tier list, we're going to be doing it a little bit different. I don't want it to be a complete 40 long session, so I decided to shave down the decks by a tremendous amount. Now, I'm not saying that these are the only decks that can top. I want you guys to post down below in the comment section, what decks do you really feel can make it? Now, I made these three categories just by the likeliness of a deck to be able to win the event, top the event, or just compete at the event. I feel that every single one of these can very much win the event, but odds are not every single one deck can win the event. I'm pretty sure that's self-explanatory, so let's continue to move on. Altergeist, I feel, is a deck that can actually win the event. I remember coming into the format, I was saying that Altergeists are a very powerful deck, and some dissenters were saying, oh, it's just a cheap man Solomon Great. Which ironically, this deck is more expensive than Solomon Great because Pot of Extravagance is a card that is really good. The deck isn't reliant on its extra deck, so that's where you get the 2 free cards from. But the deck also has some things that makes it a little bit better than the other helmet-like anti-meta decks. Metaverse allows you to activate cards like Secret Village of the Spellcaster to prevent your opponent from activating their spell cards. Now against some decks, this could not mean anything, but against a lot of decks, most decks in this Yu-Gi-Oh meta, this means everything. You can also have access to cards like Metaverse, being able to prevent your opponent's monster effects. And then did I forget to mention that this trap heavy deck thrives off of your trap cards through Altergeist Multi-Faker, which summons itself to your side of the field and fetches you a free Altergeist monster, which allows you to control the board. The next deck is Black Wings. I feel like Black Wings are a lot better than what people say they are. Black Wings have a 1-card Black Wing Full Armor Master, which is unaffected by card effects, is a mind control, and can wipe the board of anything with a counter. Oh, also, every time your opponent activates a monster effect, it gets a counter. The monster to make this card gives your opponent's monsters counters. Black Wings could definitely be a tier 1 deck if they had a Link monster specific to them, possibly some even new support. I actually really do like the deck. Let me know down below in the comment section if you guys want to see Black Wings against a really powerful Yu-Gi-Oh deck, and we'll make it happen. After that, this is actually a representation for Danger Chaos. Danger Chaos is probably the only immediate threat to Altergeist, not because, you know, Thunder Dragon Colossus is a threat, but because Danger Chaos doesn't play any spell cards, meaning that Altergeist would have to change from activating Anti-Spell Fragrance or from activating their Secret Village to their Metaverse. But the thing about this deck is that it's everything that Pendulum has wanted to be. In a mere 2 cards, it can create situations where your opponent just can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Thunder Dragon Colossus prevents the opponent from searching. Hot Red Dragon Archery and Abyss can negate cards on the field. Then you have your Heretic Link, which allows you to manipulate your opponent's monsters, bouncing them back to your hand, and then stop summoning monsters like Amorphage Sloth to prevent players from touching the extra deck. This is a Chaos deck, so Chaos Dragon Levianeer fits in perfectly, being able to disrupt your opponent's hand or destroy cards on their side of the field, as well as being able to spell summon monsters from your graveyard to your side of the field. This deck is no slouch. True Draco is a deck I feel is a top level deck. Now, True Draco has always been powerful, activating cards like True Draco Heritage to be able to draw cards because you destroyed your True Draco cards. That's all through the effects of Dragonic Diagram, which destroys your cards and searches your True Draco cards. And then your trap cards like True Draco Apocalypse, which halves the attack of every single one of your opponent's monsters and destroys opponent's monsters. Did I forget to mention that the spells and traps give you additional tribute summons? I feel that I've said this over and over again. I feel like a broken record. The new card into the equation would have to be the new Draco Combatant, or not necessarily the new card, but an old card that players love to play. This card can be unaffected by monsters, spells, and traps, and when you do get rid of it, you can spell summon a monster from your extra deck to your side of the field for free. Am I thinking the new, or not the new Notoria Parkion, but the new Notoria Fusion monster? Not necessarily new, but can be a threat against so many decks. I feel like zombies can compete at the event as a very good anti-meta deck. Zombie World turning all monsters on the field and graveyard into zombies can be pretty problematic, especially against decks like Solomon Great, who need Cyberse monsters to start off their play. Doom King Balladrock is a very powerful card because it can negate monster effects on the field that are zombie, and then banish cards on the field every time a zombie monster effect activates. The only problem with this deck is that it's plagued by the same weaknesses that Orcust have: Called by the Grave and Graveyard Disruption. The next deck is Pendulum. I feel that Pendulum is a poor man's Danger Chaos. Look, everything that you want to do in Pendulum, Danger Chaos kind of does it a lot easier. But if you guys are a Pendulum enthusiast, it can still very much be done. Your new Endamian cards gave you really good access to not only put monsters to your side of the field, but give you a form of negation in the Endamian Master Magician. As long as Electromite exists at 1, you're probably having access to the most busted Link monster in the game. And your Guard Dragon cards, I mean, Amorphage Sloth works best in this deck than probably any other deck of all time, because even if you do break it, you can just Pendulum summon it to your side of the field. Mech Knights, I feel, are another good competitor. Look, if my deck profile and my live duel has not shown you the power of Mech Knights, the ability to go first and extra link lock your opponent, giving them a Nightmare Corruptor Ibly, which is good for Solomon Great players, Until you realize that we have an Iron Dragon Tomaton, preventing them to make that Salamence Great Banelinks or special summoning for that matter. I think that the deck is also really good with being mixed with other strategies, as well as being a deck that is great going first and people just sleep on. Madolches are a strategy I feel that can top an event. What? Look, the deck has a 1-card OTK. All you need to do is normal summon Madolche Magileine. From there, the other cards in your hand can be used to disrupt your opponent. Tiramisu is one of the strongest Xyz monsters in the game. It has non-targeting removal that shuffles cards into the deck and the end phase. And Madolche Chateau allows you to recur hand traps. Yes, Madolche Chateau says add a card or add monsters from your graveyard to your hand that were used by a Madolche card, meaning that Glacouffé can bring in those hand traps back to your hand. Madolches are dumb good. Nekroz is a deck I feel that can compete at the event. Don't get me wrong, Nekroz of Trishula, there's been some really good times with that card. Being able to banish a card in your opponent's hand, field, or graveyard is what the deck has going for it. And then every single one of your ritual monsters are a hand trap. Now, the biggest thing that stops Nekroz from being a better deck than what it is consistency. There are times where you get a handful of incantations. There are times where you get a handful of Nekroz cards, which can be awkward. And then there are times where you just don't see your ritual cards when you need them the most. Effect Veiler being really powerful, hitting cards like Manju of the Thousand Hands and your ritual cards when you need them the most. Let's just face it, without the Jin Lock, this deck feels pretty power corrupt. The next strategy is Orchist, and a lot of people would think I'd put Orchist right here. I'm actually going to put Orchist in topping the event, and don't get me wrong, I feel that Orchist is one of the best decks of the format. Dengirsu is very powerful, as many times you can summon this card, either disrupt the opponent or attack some of your banished machine monsters to keep your combos going. You're going to be able to out-advance your opponent, and then Phantom Knight's Rusty Bardish, being able to destroy cards every time you summon Dengirsu to it, is a really good combo. The problem with Orchist is that we're at Nationals, a hyper-competitive event. The same reason why I feel these decks can compete at the event, players aren't necessarily looking out for them, is the exact same reason why I feel Orchust won't win any more events. Reason being is, I mean, obviously you're gonna side for some of the best decks in the format, and cards like Cult by the Grave are already in the main deck. You compartmentalize that with Artifact Lancing and all the other side deck problems that this deck has, and then put it that everyone wants to beat Orchust. It might struggle. I don't think Orchust will win the events up to come, but I definitely think it'll still be a critical deck to this format. Now, I consider Salamence Great as the best deck of the format right now, and some of you guys may be scratching your head. Salamence Great being better than all the others? Well, Salamence Great has a lot of room to grow. We just got a new spell card. Who knows what that can do to the Yu-Gi-Oh meta? May not do anything. But the fact that we keep getting Salamence Great support cards, and on top of that, the deck doesn't need all of its room. I think it's about 20 to 30 cards that are Salamence Great specific to the strategy. It gives you a lot of room to play around your counters or to play encountering a lot of opponents. Salamence Great are really good. Anytime you can set up that board with your Salamence Great Rage, which allows you to destroy your opponent's cards, or your Salamence Great Roar, which allows you to negate an activation of an opponent's spell, trap, or monster effect, and keep recycling those cards, you have a really good time. Salamence Great Sunlight Wolf allows you to recycle those cards from the graveyard that you need, and being able to get cards like Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring as many times as you wish can be critical in those high-level events where you have to play so many rounds. Next, Sky Striker can definitely still win an event. Let's do the checklist, ladies and gentlemen. Sky Striker multi-rolls at 3? Yes. Proceed to Spellbook Judgment your opponent. Is Widow Anchor at 3? Yes. Proceed to Mind Control and Forbidden Chalice your opponent. Is Mobilize Engage at 3? Yes. Well, proceed to search any of those cards that you need, as well as draw an additional card. So what? Sky Striker Ace Kagari is at 1. This deck will just find inventive ways to improve. Subterror Guru Control is another deck I feel can win the event. TheCaliEffect, this is your hottest take. Subterrors feel almost like Salamence Great. The engine is so small. Subterror Guru searches whatever you need. It searches a hand trap which I have to tell you, the more events that you play, the more rounds there are in an event, being able to have access to your hand traps to be able to stop whatever your opponent is doing becomes more critical. You also have all of the anti-meta cards inside of There Can Only Be One, or There Can Be Only One, however you say that card's name. And then all the other great traps to prevent your opponent from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Sub-Terrors can be pretty deadly. Super Polymerization is at 2, so fusing your opponent's cards, too strong. The last deck, I feel Trickstars can top the event. There's a new build of Trickstar going around that doesn't need Droll and Lockbird, making Constellar Pleiades to bounce your opponent's card. That's pretty saucy. Artifacts are really good, and scything your opponent, preventing them from going into the extra deck is saucy. Did I forget that that's a level 5 monster? You put it with your Coral Bane, you can make your Constellar Pleiades, which is saucy. The engine is small. You need Lycoris, Candina, Coral Bane, and Light Stage. And did I forget that Light Stage actually disrupts your opponent's back row? It's a really good deck. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the Cali Effect. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. We decided to make a tier list, and I think that I gave you guys enough information to show you how powerful these decks can be in their best situations, but also which ones will have the most likeliness to top an event. Now, I could be wrong. We'll have to find out though. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy. I hope you guys are having a great day, like I am.